All right, there we go. Okay. It's the one-arm wellness warrior here for you. You know, if I can't be in the back adjusting you, reducing those subluxations, physically put my hands on you, my mouth, my jaw, that works fine. So we're here going to make some mental adjustments, and I'm going to help educate you, because doctor means educate. To educate you on the things that you can be doing, the most powerful things that you can be doing to raise healthy families. A little bit about me and why I'm so passionate about this information that I'm about to share with you is I have two children. Kalista is 11, she's in 6th grade. And Kyson is 8, and he is in 3rd grade. Kalista's into hip hop dance. Kyson loves baseball. So hands up to the families out there if you're back into the sports and the activities, and you know we're back to school and life got more chaotic again in different ways, right? And so passionate about this information because, listen up here, our children today, the generation of children that we're raising today, is not expected to live as long as their parents. Let me repeat. The generation of children today are not expected to live as long as their parents. Anybody okay with this? I'm definitely not. So I'm boldly stepping out here to share some very important information that you're not going to hear from anybody else. In the next 45 minutes or so, you're going to discover the most powerful, most effective, most natural ways to raise healthy children. To keep them as healthy as possible, as energetic as possible, to keep their bodies optimally functioning as possible in the most natural way. I'm super pumped to share this information. Now, I've been doing these webinars now for 18 months now. We were doing them in-house here live prior to COVID. We just pivoted with COVID. It makes it more convenient to be at home for people at this moment, to be able to watch. I know this is a busy time of day, evening, you know, for families for sure. And I'm going to record this. I'm going to send it out and share it with you so that you're probably going to want to rewatch it. But I found that those that get the most out of this information and presentation are the ones that engage. Think about it. If you have two people that go to the gym and one is over there lifting the weights, sweating, panting, doing the work, and then person B is over in the corner socializing, who's going to get the best results? Obviously, the one who's doing the work. So for the next 45 minutes or so, if you have one of these, does anybody not own one of these? Most people today that I see have two. Put it on silent, turn it off, protect this space here, because you deserve to hear this information so that you can make the best choices possible for your children to raise them as healthy as possible. Minimize sick days, help them perform well in school, help with their focus, help with their memory, help with their sleep patterns, help with their behaviors, help them perform well at sports and other extracurricular activities, help them recover faster, and minimize any unnecessary drugs or procedures out there. Now, I'm curious also, anybody here ever been part of a presentation or a workshop and you got some really great information, but for some reason you failed to implement it? If your hand's up, you're like me, but I'm not going to let that happen to you tonight. At the end, I'm going to give you an opportunity, if this message resonates with you and you're ready to take action, because I know you're an action taker because you're here tonight, you registered for this webinar and you're here. So that tells me you care an awful lot about your kids' health, you care about your family's health, and you're an action taker. I'm going to give you an opportunity at the end to take some action. So you're not just walking away and this being like a jacuzzi experience where you feel good in the moment, but then you go back to the same stressful living you were already doing and not making any changes necessary to produce better health outcomes. So we're going to go ahead and get started here, and let's dive right in. So raising healthier kids, what every parent needs to know. It's a very timely topic out there, isn't it? So my question to you, are Americans healthy? And specifically, are American kids healthy? If you answered no, you're exactly right. Here are the brutal facts. The United States spends more money on healthcare than any other nation. We spend close to $3 trillion each year. That's the annual burden on our nation, $3 trillion on quote unquote healthcare. But you and I know the facts that that's not really healthcare, is it? It's more sick care, because when do you typically go to your doctor? When you're sick, you're exactly right. When you have some sort of ill. When you're sick, you go to your doctor. So it's really sick care. Even the Washington Post agrees, because they did a research article that said that 2/3 of all healthcare spending did absolutely nothing to improve the health of the individual. That includes our kids. So the United States takes 75% of all the prescription drugs in the world, yet we have less than 5% of the population. Last month, we talked about the opioid crisis and how the United States consumes 90+% of the opioid drugs in the world, but we only have 5% of the world's population. Do you ever stop to pause and ask yourself why that is? So we spend the most money, we take the most drugs. That means we're one of the healthiest nations in the world, right? We are raising the generation of children today, we're raising them to be healthy adults, right? Where do you think the United States ranks in the overall world of healthiest nations according to the World Health Organization? Type it in the chat. 1 is the healthiest, 40 is the sickest. I'm curious, what do you think? Type your number in the chat. And when you're in the chat, if you would kindly click hosts and panelists, that would be great. So what do you think? 1 to 40, who's going to be the first? Type it up into the chat. I'm curious. Hey, Dr. T, welcome. Man, Jacob, did Kate give you some inside information on this? All right, Lynn, Jacob, boom. You guys are great. You guys understand. You're understanders already. 38th in the world. I'm curious, after COVID, what do you think that number's probably done? Is it gone up or gone down? Maybe you don't know. Maybe by the end of this presentation tonight, you'll have a better idea. Because COVID really stressed the system. You see that we're raising a generation of sick children who are eventually going to become sick adults. If we want to have healthy adults, it starts in our childhood and a good foundation here. But the fact is that unfortunately our kids today are sick, they're unhealthy, and they're damaged today. COVID stressed the system. We knew that we were already in a healthcare crisis prior to COVID. COVID exposed us, and it exposed the world to the extent of causing lockdowns and really, really troubling trends and statistics here. Because during COVID, obesity in the US increased at an unprecedented rate during the pandemic. Latest research shows is that between the children between 6 and 11 saw the greatest increases in BMI, that's body mass index, during the pandemic. It surged to unprecedented levels. I mean, is it really any surprise? We were already on a bad road to begin with, a poor trajectory, producing sick and unhealthy kids whose bodies are getting weaker and weaker every year. The things that really amplified this were reduced physical activity and increased screen time. Yes or yes, double whammy right there. And the monthly rate of BMI increase with the kiddos nearly doubled compared to the pre-pandemic rate. And the portion of US children who are obese is rising. And it's 5 times faster after the virus appeared. Oh, maybe you saw this. We talked about the Purdue family and paying a lot of money because of their negligence with the opioids. How about Monsanto? Monsanto was bought out by Bayer. Yeah, Bayer, the German pharmaceutical company. So I'm not sure if things are sprayed and you got to wear that outfit, that it's good to eat. So what they found was this, and really $40 million is pocket change to this company who profits billions annually. But what they were found was guilty of misleading advertising, saying that their product did not harm humans, which it does, and glyphosate is toxic. Our kids are exposed to more and more toxins than ever before. And the root of all disease out there today is deficiency and toxicity. Our kids today are deficient in vital nutrients that are required to be healthy, and they're becoming more and more toxic by the environment that they live in. So where does this glyphosate, you ask, where is it in our food? Well, here's a couple of the common foods that kids consume today. It's cheap, it's easy, it's quick, it's convenient. And unfortunately, our kids are being more and more exposed. I mean, like, look at this. Baby poop contains 10 times more microplastic than adult. I mean, you start to see companies like Lego, and you start to see companies like McDonald's. You know, Lego is going to a non-plastic Lego here soon, and McDonald's is switching over their plastic toys in the Happy Meals. Probably read about that recently. But plastic bottles, teethers, everyday objects, kids are exposed to the plastics. And this has real consequences that will start to interfere with their health outcomes. I mean, how bad is it really? I mean, look, 1 in 4 kids today have a chronic illness. Our kids today are weaker and sicker than ever before. 1 in 9 develop asthma. 1 in 6 are learning disabled. And 1 in 5 have a defined mental disorder. I don't know if this pisses you off, but it pisses me off. How can this be with all the money that we spend on quote unquote healthcare, that this is where we're at with our kids? Hands up if you're like me and think we can do better. We have to do better. Because what we're doing is we're raising the next generation of kids to be pill popping machines. A pill for every ill, as they say, is that we're producing our kids to be sick, keeping them around so they don't die, so they become a bigger consumer for the pharmaceutical industry for years to come. It's a great business model, right? Pfizer says COVID vaccine for 5 to 11-year-olds is safe and shows robust antibody response. Experts say not so fast. This is knocking on my doorstep because my daughter is 11, my son is 8, and I think this is absolutely ridiculous to even have this in the realm of consideration. 2 words, if you put them together, are going to create a catastrophe for humans, and especially our kids. Rush science. There's no credible evidence or research done to show that this is actually a good idea and safe. Typically, it takes about 7 to 10 years for a vaccine to get approval by the FDA. And think about it, most of the vaccines were just authorized in the beginning. Some of them I think are starting to get approval, which I'm skeptical about, but most of them are rushed to market. You see, they've been working on COVID vaccines for years with no long-term success. But right now, all of a sudden, these are being forced upon us, and we're having to make critical decisions. I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. I'm here to provide information to you so that you make the best decision for yourself and your family. It requires work. It requires understanding what the facts really show and reading between the lines of some headlines that show up in the news every single day. So my question is, are we masking the real problem? You tell me. I think we are. We were told by wearing these masks that they're going to keep us safe and healthy. But I think we forgot that we were already sick to begin with. I chose this particular slide because it has Superman and Spider-Man. In a couple slides, I'm just going to remind you the power of health and healing in the body and what we're designed and equipped with, as long as we don't get in the way or interfere with the natural, innate processes of the body. So you see where the trends are, where they're heading, and a simple statement is this, is that if we keep doing what we've always done, we'll keep getting what we've always received. Anybody know the definition of insanity out there? If we do the exact same things over and over and over and expect different results, that's insanity. What if there's a better way? I say there is a better way. Let's dive into the better way to help shape you and your family's health trajectory for what you're hoping for, not only in the short term, but in the long term. You see, there's 3 tiers to healthcare. The treatment of disease. This is said to keep people from dying. I'm grateful for the treatment of disease because modern healthcare, sick care, disease care, crisis intervention saved my dad. At the age of 42 years young, and I'm 42 by the way, at the age of 42 years young, my dad had his first heart attack. Had it not been for crisis intervention, my dad would not be here today. So for that, I am grateful. But let's keep it what it is. It's the treatment of disease. Prevention of disease, no hugs or high fives, frequent hand washing, mass social distancing, although may be appropriate in certain situations, none of which does anything to improve or promote the health of the individual. Think about that. Promotion of health is being proactive and making sure that your behaviors and your lifestyle matches up to those activities that increase your body's health potential and make you and your children healthier and stronger. That's our space at Pure Chiropractic. That's what we're known for, is to help educate people of what to start doing and stop doing to help improve their health potential and make their bodies healthier, simply to become a healthier, stronger human being. Hands up if you want that. So a couple things that we need to make sure that we're on the same page with here. You are designed to be healthy. Healthy is normal. Sick is abnormal. Unfortunately, sick has become the new norm. When you're thinking about, what about my genes? Health here, you have 20 to 25,000 genes. What the research shows, it's your lifestyle that will turn certain genes on or off to produce health or to produce disease and illness. We have genes for disease, we have genes for optimal health. And those genes are going to be expressed on your lifestyle and your behavior. It's not bad genes or bad germs that you get sick. It is your lifestyle and how you're expressing. There's only 2 reasons that somebody's going to get sick. It's if their body is toxic in something, or they're deficient in a vital nutrient their body needs to be healthy. But you are designed to be healthy. Your body is intelligent. Hands up if you agree with this. If I cut my finger and cut a dead person's finger, whose finger is going to heal? Obviously mine. Band-Aid doesn't do the healing. Think about you. When you were conceived, two tiny, tiny cells collided together. Started out to 2, then went to 4, then to 8, then to 16, to 32, and on and on and on. 270 days later, you were you. How awesome are you? Think about that miracle. Think about it with your kids. Is that those cells, as they were dividing, nerve impulses started flowing to coordinate and direct the growth and the function and development of all the other systems in the body. The blood started pumping. You started bringing in amniotic fluid and excreting that, and your body kept growing. You didn't even have to think about that, right? How awesome is that? That same intelligence that you witnessed in your children. Think about when the first time you held your child. I can remember the first time in the delivery room when I held Kalista and Kyson. What a miracle. Think about the first time you held your child and watch them through the developmental stages. Your body is intelligent. But as adults, we forget that. We forget that along the way, we lose that intelligence. We don't. You still have it. It's your nervous system that's the master system in the body. Intelligent courses across all parts of the nervous system. This is what carries the health and healing messages of your body. Your spine is your suit of armor. It protects your nervous system. If you want to have a healthy life, you have to have a healthy nervous system. In order to have a healthy nervous system, you have to have a healthy spine. The same is true for your children. It's your lifeline. Hands up here if modern life is unnaturally stressful. Stress existed prior to COVID. Since COVID, more and more stress in your life. Think about it. The stress that the kids are under today, physically, nutritionally, chemically, psychologically, socially, mentally, and emotionally, way up these days. Think about the kids in school, the kids with COVID and the fears, worries, and anxieties. You and I, we didn't have to deal with that growing up. We had other stressors. But think about it here today. Think about today that we have to drag our kids away from the tech, the iPads, video games, to get them to go outside. But when you and I grew up, they had to drag us in from outside because that's what we did. We went outside and played. Stress is high, and then stress has consequences. You see, natural development, it all matters. The preconception to the health of mom and dad prior to conceiving, the environment, their lifestyle habits. Then during the pregnancy, the lifestyle habits. You know, were we taking care of ourselves or not? By the way, before I go on any further, I'm going to pause here, because if you're like me, woulda, shoulda, coulda game comes up here. I want to let you know there's no judgment, there's no shame, there's no guilt here. If you knew better, you probably would do better, but give yourself some compassion and love for the amazing person you are and what a great mother and father you are, or soon to be mom and dad. There's no judgment here, coming from a place of love. But natural development, it all matters. It starts preconception and then during the pregnancy. Are we doing the things that we know we need to do to be as healthy as possible in the way we eat, the way we move, the way we think? Then what about the birth process? There's a reason why there's a birth canal. It's crazy to think that 1/3 of all births today are not natural, they're C-section. Around the world, comparatively speaking, the United States has the highest C-section rates. And then breastfeeding. The importance of the birth process is going through the mom's birth canal, the baby is exposed to some natural gut flora that is very important for that baby for digestive and immune system development. Then after the delivery process, the breastfeeding and the child latching on to the mom's nipple, which is nature's pharmacy there to build a strong, healthy immune system. It's very clear that the children who are breastfed have a higher, stronger immune system than those children that are not. Then about toxin exposure, and yes, vaccines and drugs and antibiotics, which would be under the drugs, they all carry side effects. There's toxins in the vaccines. There's toxins in drugs that our kids get exposed to. And the amount of toxins that our kids are exposed to, think about, even if you and I were vaccinated or the vaccine schedule years ago, is unlike anything else today. Plus, now we're putting in a whole new vaccine that has not been studied or researched long term. So we have no idea what the consequences are down the road. And even when you watch the news, the mainstream media, there's conflicting information day in and day out, even hours later. So what do you believe? Fever, when it comes to natural development, is it a good idea to let a fever and a child run its course, or to intervene and artificially bring that fever down with some drug? Well, what's the purpose of the fever? Who knows what the purpose of the fever is? The purpose of the fever is to raise the internal temperature in the child or the adult to kill off some sort of microbe it's trying to fight, a virus or a bacteria. So fevers have a purpose, but when we start to manipulate that, what nature intended, with some sort of drug, then what ends up happening is the temperature goes down, so we see the drug work, but the immune system did not have the opportunity to kill off the microbe, the bacteria, the virus. So therefore, the microbe or the bacteria, the virus, it becomes stronger and deeper seated in the body. So then you get reinfected, or the infection or the fever spikes up, or the next time around, it spikes up higher. Ever wonder why? So teething, letting the body, with the fever, the teething, there's a reason for that. I guess what I'm saying is the less we interfere with the body's natural development, the healthier our children have, the greater the chance our children have to become healthier. How about playing in the dirt? Putting your hands into the dirt to help you get exposed to microbes and organisms there. We are artificially cleaning everything, and it's really impacting our child's immune system, natural immunity ability. So like unnatural development, it all matters. C-section. C-sections are more stressful on the child than a natural birth. Formula fed, the child's missing out on very important probiotics and nutrients. Over sanitizing, frequent hand washing. So now we're creating these superbugs, and now we're not developing natural immunity. So our bodies are getting weaker. That's why you see the children that are in these controlled environments, they don't get outside, they're not playing, they're not exposed to microbes, microorganisms. They get everything is sanitized, and why they're constantly, and they have all their vaccines and the vaccine schedule, and they're constantly getting sick over and over and over. It's because their body never had a chance to develop a healthy, strong immune system. So it's more about the terrain than the germ. because germs are around us 24/7. But is our immune system, is the child's immune system strong enough and equipped enough to handle those germs? It's normal in the beginning of life for our kids to get sick. And the purpose of getting sick is what? Develop natural immunity. But when our bodies are weakened, we're going to be exposed to certain viruses that are going to make us more susceptible to that microbe. I mean, let's look at it. For COVID, we know that COVID is very contagious. We know that it's dangerous to a select group of people. It's the immunocompromised. The weaker the immune system, the more compromised the individual, the more severe the impact of COVID. Like, that's in the research. So the first 3 years of your baby's life, it's training them for the rest of their life. It's a strong, healthy foundation. There's 5 vital factors that affect immune function during the school year. It's not necessarily that they're around other kids and that's why they're getting sick. They're around people all the time. But when the diet is deficient, there's toxicity or deficiency in the nutrition. Kids aren't getting enough sleep, too much stress. Posture is poor, which is impacted by screen time and backpacks. They have a lack of vitamin D. They have stimulation or lack of stimulation, other interaction physically. And if they have neurologic interference, such as subluxation, this is going to weaken your child's immune system, make them more susceptible to the microbes. So I always love asking this question: do flies cause garbage? No, flies show up because of the environment. If you take a look at school nutrition, it's a bunch of garbage. You ever heard that term before? Garbage? C-A-R-B-A-G-E, garbage. These are food items that lack nutrition value and increase the inflammatory response in your child's body. This is going to weaken them and make them sicker. But I want to let you know that there's opportunity here. So how can you help? Well, make sure that breakfast is a priority. We know that the mornings are busy typically for the families. So you can plan ahead and specifically use time on the weekend to plan for the week. But make breakfast a priority. Pack your child's lunch. Pack them leftovers. Have a home-cooked dinner. Eliminate the sodas that are just full of sugar. You see, sugar and vitamin C have a very similar molecular makeup, so that when the cell receptor for vitamin C is competing with sugar, sugar wins 100% of the time. So you might be giving your child vitamin C, but if there's a lot of sugar also being ingested with the child, then that sugar is going to compete for the vitamin C, and your child's not going to get the benefit for the immune system. Sugar, white processed sugar, paralyzes your child's immune system for 4 hours. It means that the defense is down, and your child's body is going to be more susceptible. Supplementation is exactly that. Nothing is going to substitute healthy food. That's the foundation, and the supplement supplements that. And what we recommend for your children: a probiotic, vitamin D, omega-3 fish oil, and a multivitamin, multimineral. These are required. These are essential. Your body needs these in addition to healthy food, healthy cooking. So I know probably by now, if you're like most, you're thinking like, oh my gosh, this is a bit overwhelming. I might as well not even try. Well, I just want to let you know, do not give up hope. You are a super mom. You are a super dad. You're a super parent. And it's a process here. So I like progress, not perfection. So as you're going through this and you're taking notes, Think about what is the one thing? What's the one thing you can start doing? What's the one thing you can stop doing to help improve your child's health? There's some simple action steps that you can start taking. It's either you're going to pay now, put in the time and effort now, or pay later, right? Do we want it easy, hard, or hard, easy for our child? You know, a couple things that, you know, we do, you could do. Frittata. You make a frittata here on the weekend, you know, and then you can have that for your child throughout the week. Making smoothies here. You can baggie up the fruits, the vegetables in bags. Prepare them in advance, so save time, cut down in time in the morning. We think plants, fats, proteins is what we talk about that the meals should be filled with. There's some healthy snacks that you can make. There's lots of resources out there. This is possible. And especially aligning yourself with a mom's group that shares similar values too can give you some more ideas in what others are doing out there. So if the pancakes, there's healthy versions of pancakes. So you can get like the gluten-free version there, so you're not having the wheat, less sugar. Avocados are healthy fats. You could take like some celery and some almond butter. You can take apples and sunflower butter. Those are some great options there. What I've found in my experience has been when I get my kids involved, we love making smoothies. So when they get involved and they have a role in it, they're more excited about it. And yes, you can make them delicious too. Nutritious doesn't have to be, doesn't mean that it's not delicious, but you got to get started with something. So a couple things like in the morning. So think fuel smoothies. So great for some picky eaters to get in some vegetables and fruit. I typically add vitamin D. I add omega-3 fish oil, which has a lemon flavor. Kids like it. You can put it right in your smoothie. You think about then movement before and after school. You can get like a mini trampoline. You can get a big trampoline. Running around, work out with parents. I like to take my kids out for a walk before school if we can. I like to, in the evening, go for a walk. That was one thing that we started adding in a lot during the lockdowns. Leave them laughing. You know, think about incorporating humor with the family because there's so much stress going on. Find ways that you can slow down and laugh. You know, if the kids see the parents worried and stressed, they're probably going to seem worried and stressed. If they see the parents easygoing and relaxed, they'll probably be more easygoing and relaxed. And remember the 2-minute rule. This is a big one right there. Remember, your child is going to remember the first minute that you make eye contact with them throughout the day and the last minute of the day that they see you. That's what they remember and sticks in their heart. So never underestimate slowing down, even if it's just for a minute, making eye contact with your kiddos, telling them how much you love them and how grateful you are for them. That could go a long way in creating better health outcomes. Look, sleep is essential for health. We did a great webinar, very extensive and more detailed. This is a standalone workshop. So that's our March wellness webinar, and that is still available on our YouTube channel, Pure Chiro Health. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to that. But sleep is essential. It's important for the kids to get into a routine, the same time going to bed at night, the same time waking up. Anybody ever not follow this rule, like summer vacay for the kids and then school starts? Yeah, we just had to deal with that too, but we're back into a rhythm. And no screen time within at least 30 minutes of bedtime, because that artificial light, that blue light right there, starts to affect then the melatonin release within the pineal gland, which is going to keep your kids more awake and really disrupt their optimal sleep times. And the money time for the kiddos is 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Make sure it's completely pitch black, it's dark. Even those night lights in the kids' room, that artificial light really disrupts their sleep and affects their immune system. That's what the research is showing. And for my note takers, so for children 3 to 5 years old, they need 10 to 13 hours of sleep every 24 hours, including naps. Children 6 to 12, 9 to 12 hours of sleep every 24 hours. And teens, 13 to 18-year-old, 8 to 10 hours of sleep every 24 hours. So we know stress, it's a big deal. When your body is under stress, it takes on adaptive physiology, adaptive behaviors. So there's so much stress that's going on these days with the kiddos. And it just continues to get greater and greater and greater. And with all that stress, if it produces a symptom, when we take our kids to the pediatrician, there's usually a pill for every ill. There's more kids these days on antidepressant medications than ever before. There's more kids today on drugs than ever before. When things that could help cope with the anxiety and the stress, such as exercise, eating better, stress management, being in a loving, supportive environment, could help out quite a bit. Movement is key. Movement helps eliminate waste and toxins from our child's body. It's vital. Movement is a nutrient, an essential nutrient. It increases circulation. The white blood cells are going to be more effective. It moves interstitial fluid and increases lymphatic flow. That's the immune system. It reduces the stress hormone production. Kids are supposed to move before they start learning. So think about that with a mini trampoline, jumping, dancing, playing some music. We love to put on music, dance around the island in the kitchen, all those type of things. It's a lot of fun because disease harbors in stagnant tissues. Movement is key. Life is motion, motion is life. And on that note, posture is the window into the spine. It's crazy to think that almost 8,000 children a year are injured because of backpacks. Now, if you're at home, you can weigh your child's backpack. Put it on the scale. It should not be more than 10 to 15% of their body weight. And best practices include use both of the straps, put the heavier items closer to the back, lighter items away from the back, that it's cinched up high and tight, and it should be the length of your child's torso is the backpack. So here's another good practice is that those backpacks, they get heavier as the school year goes on. So to consider cleaning out the junk, the unnecessary things weekly will help keep those backpacks as light as possible. There's also tech neck syndrome out there that are plaguing our kids today. Sitting is the new smoking. And that tech neck can lead to severe headaches, back pain, neck pain, developmental disorders, and more. Call it digital dementia because screens have become the new crack. The same pleasure centers that are stimulated with drugs like heroin are the same stimulated centers of the brain for the kids when it comes to the social media, the gaming, the clicks, the dings, the chimes, and everything like that when they're on the computer. Here's a real cool thing about the lookup movement right there.
Facebook started as a great way for us to connect with our friends, family, and things we like the most. But things changed. The recent wave of ads, spam, fake news, and other low-quality posts have divided us instead of bringing us closer together. But it doesn't have to be that way. Health professionals have identified 5 steps we can all take right now to take control of our newsfeed and make Facebook a healthy, happy, and inspiring place to be. Step 1, unfollow what makes you unhealthy. When you see a post from someone you're no longer interested in seeing posts from, simply unfollow. You can still remain friends, but you don't have to be bothered by their annoying posts anymore. Tired of political rants, braggy friends, your ex's selfies, and that one person that constantly complains? Unfollow. It's your newsfeed. You're in control. Step 2, like and follow what makes you healthier. Subscribe to your tribes to fill your feed with what inspires you. Would you like to wake up inspired daily? Connect with people and pages that inspire, inform, and improve your life. And make sure to set your favorite pages to see first, so you'll always get the positive content you're most interested in first. Step 3, look up. Too many of us are constantly tethered to our computers, phones, and tablets from the moment we wake up till we're ready to go to sleep. For better health, let's remember that life is better when you're looking up. Take a mobile moment every 20 minutes. Look 20 feet away for at least 20 seconds. Parents can set a good example for kids. This simple idea can improve your body, your mind, and your overall health. Step 4, get connected and engage with your tribes. By joining tribes that inspire you, you'll stay connected to people, ideas, and action steps to help you live a happier, healthy life. Like and comment on things that make life better for all of us. Your engagement amplifies great ideas. Step 5, be kind, be generous, and share the love. Together, we can use Facebook as a tool for good. When you find something inspiring, interesting, funny, or just makes you feel good, be generous and share it. Together, let's use Facebook to make the world a better place.
Okay, that video there is just to show you is let's control what we can control and let go of what we can't control. So there's some good tips in there when you're on your mobile device, taking short, frequent breaks, so on and so forth, and really avoiding the things that are adding in more stress into your life, and then bringing in those things that are inspiring, positive, encouraging, and uplifting. All right, here's a good time for a posture break. So if you're sitting at your mobile device or your kids are watching here, why don't you go ahead and then stand up? I'm going to demonstrate these exercises. Well, I'm going to half demonstrate these exercises, but you'll get the idea. They're called YWTL exercises, and they stand for You Will Thrive Longer. So will your kids. So basically, you're going to stand up. You're going to bring your arms up overhead in a Y shape. You're going to make sure your shoulders are lowered, and you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades back, and you're going to hold this for 20 seconds. Then you're going to go ahead and then make a W. This is where you're going to bend your elbows and bring them to your side with your hands up. So you're going to go ahead, keep your shoulders lower, head over shoulders, squeeze your shoulder blade back, and then hold it there for 20 seconds. The next one is the T. Bring your arm out and then elbow in like this. And obviously, you would not be like me. You would be doing both arms at the same time. So YWTL, you do this one round every hour when you're at the computer. This is what you want to be teaching your kids. These are simple things that they can be doing to help offset the negative impact that the tech neck, the stress of sitting is causing on their spine and nervous system. So in our office, we do a biostructural exam for the kids, depending on if they are a newborn, if they are an infant, toddler, adolescent, and everywhere in between, is that we do a full out exam in our office, and posture is part of that. Essentially, with your kiddo, you want to make sure that head is over shoulders. Shoulders are over hips, hips are over ankles. That's the way you want to be looking at it from the side. Face head on, eyes parallel with the ground. You'll see head tilts, that's a problem. Head forward, that's a problem. Shoulder higher than the other, that's a problem. Hip higher than the other, that's when you bring them to the chiropractor to get a check. In our office, we see pediatrics, we see kids, we see whole families in our office, keeping their spine and nervous system healthy. In addition to our postural assessment, we have technology that measures stress on those postural nerves. We can actually check the impact of how those nerves are communicating to your child's spinal muscles right here. And then we can start to see how those nerves are communicating to your child's organ systems, including how's digestion, how's immune system, how's breathing, how is sleep, things like that. The most common reasons children visit our office, besides if they have headaches or neck pain or back pain, because that's what I think most people think a chiropractor is for, and we get great results with that. But also it's for postural problems, ear infections, asthma, constipation. Think about the kiddos that are constantly getting sick. They've seen the pediatrician, they've seen other specialists. Nobody has any answers. The parents are frustrated. They're looking for solutions. Bedwetting, headaches, we already mentioned, leg cramps. Wellness is one of the major reasons that the parents bring their child in, because they want to make sure and ensure their child grows and is as healthy as possible. And then things like allergies or skin conditions. So the top 5 things that you need to be aware of is that your child's body, just like yourself, is self-healing and self-regulating. It is your nervous system that's the master controller of your body. When there's interference to your nervous system, your body can no longer heal and regulate properly. Misalignments in the spine, also known as subluxations, are correlated to interferences within the nervous system. When your nervous system is no longer sending those proper signals, your body's no longer self-healing and self-regulating as good as it could be. Chiropractors work to remove this interference by adjusting the spine and removing subluxation. Make sense? So the subluxation is a term we use in chiropractors, and chiropractors are the only professionals out there that are trained and qualified to identify subluxation and to correct subluxations. The subluxation is a joint out of place, a bone out of place, that causes soft tissue irritation. The ligaments, the tendons, the discs, the nerves become inflamed. The muscles start to get tight or spasm. You start to lose that imbibition within your child's spine. That means that the essential nutrients aren't going into the spinal disc and toxins are not leaving. The joints get stuck and degeneration occurs. It is our goal and our mission here at Pure Chiropractic to ensure that kids never achieve phase 1 of spinal decay and degeneration. If you're curious about what your kid's spine and your kid's spinal health is like, we'd be happy to do an assessment for them and get their spine checked to prevent bigger problems showing up down the road. To the kiddos, those micro traumas show up all the time, the slips, the falls. By age 5, children on average have 2,500 different falls. So these little micro traumas, which they get the bumps and the bruises, things like that, and they kind of laugh it off, and then they get back. Kids are very resilient. They get back to playing. That if these micro traumas cause subluxation and it goes undetected, it goes uncorrected, and can lead to bigger health problems down the road. So is this making some sense to you? Just like with this dude, we can do this. So I know this is a lot of great information, might be a little bit overwhelming, but take a deep breath and think about what is the one next step that you can take to ensure you and your family's health and wellness. You see, Olivia, I want to share a story about Olivia, because Olivia, as an infant, came in to see me. Her parents brought her in because after the birth process, her shoulder got stuck in the birth canal, and on the way out, the doctors were doing their best, but pulling and cranking on the head and neck, and that created a lot of subluxations, as you can imagine. In fact, 8 out of 10 children born today are born with subluxation. It's quite common, but the only way you're going to know this is that if your child sees a chiropractor. So Olivia showed up with her parents, who were very concerned, as I would be, and was when I saw her, because she had no use of her left arm. So the doctors there, the medical doctors, with their best, said, well, let's just kind of tape her arm to her body for a year and then start physical therapy. Where parents were smart enough to think of, there's got to be a better way. So like you, they were an action taker. They showed up to the office and we did a comprehensive evaluation. We went through Olivia's health history. Tell us about the trauma she sustained at birth. What is going on and what are your concerns, mom and dad? We did objective testing. And at the end of her evaluation, we confirmed that her problem was subluxation. So we started adjusting the subluxation. The chiropractic adjustments put the bones in better alignment. Therefore, the body's nervous system that carries the self-healing and self-regulating signals throughout could work better. Within a couple of adjustments in a few weeks, Olivia had regained full function within her arm. What do you think might have happened had not mom and dad brought Olivia into our practice in the first place to get evaluated? And what do you think would have happened to Olivia and her growth and development had this not been corrected? Talk about stress, modern life being stressful for the kids today. It would have been only more stressful for her. So the next steps are simple. Take a look at one or two things within the lifestyle that you can see you can start to improve within your family culture, within your kids' behavior, and just start to tackle one thing and consider, if you're curious and this message resonates with you, consider bringing in your children or child to have a chiropractic evaluation. During this evaluation, we will do a thorough history. We will do some nerve stress scans so we can see how your child's nervous system is developing. If appropriate at their age, we will do a postural assessment. And depending on their age and their growth and development and what we find, we may recommend x-rays. Normally, this evaluation can be anywhere $550. For being on this webinar, there is a special offer that we're making for you attending, or if you're watching this on the webinar replay, you can bring in your children, you can bring in your spouse, anybody in your family for only $30 per person. This includes everything that we talked about, because I know that one of the barriers to having your child's spine and nervous system checked could be a financial, just the unknown. I'm going to make it very simple. Normally $550, come in for $30. How about that? Is that fair? Plus, then you get the doctor's report where that we will sit down with you, go over the findings, and let you know if we found a problem, if so, what it is, how long it's going to take to correct, and then you'll know what it's going to be required to get that fixed. So if you would, you reach out to Lynn, Catherine, or Kate, you give them a call and shoot them an email, and then we'll get that scheduled for you. That all being said, it's fantastic. I appreciate each and every one of you being here tonight. Remember, information is great, but the power comes from implementation. Just get started. Think about progress over perfection. I look forward to seeing you up at a future visit, and thank you for the opportunity to take care of you and your family. Just remember, for you and your families, health and wellness, we've got your back. Go make it a great night. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much.